Greetings and welcome to yet another Mod of the Month video taking a look at the best mods released from Morrowind each month, and today we're going to be taking a look at the best mods March 2018, and March was a pretty typical month really, as far as, number of mod releases go, with about 42 new mods being released in total, but notably there were a lot of just really impressive looking and high quality mods that were released in March, with new gameplay features, new content, and some really great looking graphics mods. And of course today we'll be taking a look at the top 3 best mods as decided by you guys in our online poll. And speaking of, we have a new online poll for the best mods of April 2018, which you'll find down below in the video description, alongside all the download links for the mods that we'll be taking a look at here today. So with that out of the way, let's get started with our mod of the month for March 2018, which this time around is Meteorite Ministry by Zobator. And this will come as a surprise, I'm sure, to absolutely no one, given that Meteorite Ministry was by far the most visually impressive mod released in March, which is perhaps saying something, since what it does is really just incredibly simple. It mainly adds a trail of debris to the Ministry of Truth in Vivec City, but that minor change just completely transforms the skyline here, and really just creates a breathtakingly beautiful vista. Now, we have already showcased this mod before back in episode 69 of Morrowind Modding Showcases, but if you missed that showcase, it should be noted that Meteorite Ministry comes with about 4 different versions that alter or change the way the Ministry of Truth looks. One version keeps the Ministry of Truth at the vanilla height, and adds a trail of debris just floating above the city itself. Another version increases the height so the entire thing is just flying much higher in the sky. My third and fourth version here just changes the direction of the trail so it's pointing directly at the temple itself, with a bit more of a vertical trail going up into the sky. And these last 2 versions include an option for, again, increasing the height of the Ministry of Truth. And personally, my favorite version here is the Ministry of Truth at the vanilla height, with a more sort of, horizontal trail dangling over the city. I just think it makes for an epic and dramatic visual effect, though your taste may differ from mine. And really, they're all pretty great looking regardless. Point is, this is a beautiful and one-of-a-kind overhaul for the Ministry of Truth, giving it a sense of verticality and velocity, so you can appreciate the fact that Vivec just stopped this meteorite right before it would have hit where the city now stands. And I would highly recommend, just checking it out and adding it to your game. It just does so much for the skyline here, and with the right distant land settings, you can see it from the temporarily built mainland and much of western Vardenfell, which makes for a really cool new landmark. And needless to say, all this makes it our mod of the month for March 2018, and really again, you just have to give it a try. It's absolutely worth it. And next up, for our second pick for the mod of the month, we have Morrowind content, a restoration by Remiros, and this mod basically sets out to restore the lost content of Morrowind. Features that Bethesda planned to include, yet, didn't for one reason or another, like missing artifacts, various items and NPCs, creatures, and even a village. And this isn't exactly a new concept. There's been a number of Morrowind content restoration mods over the years, including another one that was released just earlier this year, and the basic idea is the same with all of them. Restore this content in a lore-friendly and immersive manner. And to start out here, we're going to check out the new village of Aldredania, which was missing from the vanilla game, but which you can now find outside the Aldredania Tower. And this is a fairly small village, about half a dozen buildings or so, including a Raydoran tavern and a small trader shop. And this is really a fairly scenic little village along the Shilgorod region here, with a nice bit of exterior cluttering and ship transport to other, seaside villages. And this is probably the biggest new feature in Morrowind content restoration, though it should be noted that Remiros is using a fairly modular package, so you can pick and choose which features you want from this mod. And speaking of, one of the other features here is NPC restoration, adding missing NPCs like the Raydoran sharpshooters to the towers in Aldrun and Morgan, which Bethesda had originally already, created, but simply never implemented into the game here. And other new NPC additions include a few new outdoor merchants in the Merchant's Quarter of Mournhold, where you'll now find, among other things, a new outdoor bookseller, and each of these new merchants has a fairly decent amount of gold to, just barter with. And in a similar vein, Morrowind's content restoration also adds some new creatures to the level list here. Like on Solstein, it adds a black bone wolf, which is basically a bone wolf with a bit more, fur hanging onto it. And there's also a skinned black wolf that you'll encounter in some of the Nordic barrows here, which is, clearly a bit on the, sort of undead side. And another new addition here is an underground area to Outrun, found underneath the Rat in the Pot, and obviously this is a bit of a Thieves Guild hideout, where you'll find a few new NPCs who can provide various services like training, and selling you lockpicks and probes and other things that a thief might, need. And one last thing to check out here, the Morrowind content restoration also adds new items, like weapons and artifacts, including the wings of the Queen of Bats, the Devourer, and Remiros ring, as well as a number of weapons, particularly spears, added to the existing vanilla game weapon sets. There's a fair bit more that the Morrowind content restoration does here, but, this gives you a nice sort of overview. And either way, it merely adds some more lore-friendly and immersive content to check out, which makes it our second pick for the Mod of the Month. And finally, our third pick for the Mod of the Month is MWSE 2.1 Enchantment Services by SV Engineer 99. And this is actually another mod that we've already showcased as part of episode 69 of Morrowind Modding Showcases, but it's worth checking out again because it's a really great new gameplay addition. Basically, what Enchantment Services does is add a number of new services to both NPC enchanters and sorcerers, including 2 new enchanting-related services and 1 new spellmaking-related service for you to use that makes things just a bit easier for both mages and non-mages alike. One of the first services that we're going to be taking a look at here is scroll transcription, which allows you to make copies of any of the scrolls that you have, with some limitations, including the skill level of the enchanted that you're working with, as well as the actual, transcription fee, which you can see if you just hover the mouse cursor over one of these scrolls in your inventory. And in any event, you can make as many copies of these scrolls as you want, barring you have enough money, of course. So if you want 30 new scrolls of Divine Intervention, you can do that, or 10 new scrolls of Healing, you can do that too. And this is just an incredibly convenient feature, since in Vanilla Morrowind, you really had to rely either on an enchanter already having the scroll that you wanted, or, finding it out in the wilderness. And this just gives you an easier and lore-friendly way of just getting new magical scrolls before you head out on your next adventure. And one of the other, enchanted-related services here is item recharging, which allows you to recharge any enchanted items that you're carrying for a modest fee. And this is usually, pretty cheap, since items normally recharge over time. Only now you don't have to, wait several days, and you can just do it instantly. And finally, there's a new service provided by sorcerers called Scroll Deciphering, and this one is really pretty neat. It allows you to take any magical scrolls you find and have it deciphered, which copies the spell from the scroll to your spellbook, so you can cast it at any time you like. And this is just an incredibly useful feature, as many of the enchantments on magical scrolls have no direct, spellbook counterparts. So this adds a great way to expand your spellbook with some really useful magical spells, assuming of course that you have the skill level to cast them. And much like the transcribing service though, there are a few limitations here. Namely, NPCs can only decipher some scrolls based on their own, magical skill level. So some NPCs will be able to decipher more, and others less, and of course you'll have to pay a fairly hefty fee for some of these, but if you're a mage, this is potentially a cheaper route than just paying to transcribe dozens of scrolls, and in any event, these are really handy and convenient features to have, regardless of whether you're playing a mage-based character or not, and all that makes this our third and final pick for the Mod of the Month. And that about wraps up today's episode of the Mod of the Month. As always, download links and the link to our new online poll for the best mods of April 2018 can be found down below. And anyway, we'll be back in about a few weeks here with our next episode. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you all next time.